I'm back! And if you're wondering why the beginning was so quiet, it's because I got a comment. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. I was being too loud. Ruining everyone's vibe. When I saw that comment, my heart dropped. I felt ugly, I felt worthless, I felt gay. So, everyone leave hate down in the comments for that person that commented that. It just didn't really sit right with me. But anyways, we're back! And today, we're going to be drinking. I wasn't feeling like drinking today. My stomach is a little upset, but I love you guys so much. And y'all fucking love me plastered. We're going to be doing Reddit stories, obviously. And by popular demand, we're doing scary stories while we do our makeup. How about that? How does that sound? Look who's making a special appearance today. Is she bougie? Is that YouTube check hitting or what? It's not. We've moved on from cans. We're bottle girls now. Why am I low-key built like this? Skinny, tall, lanky. I get that a lot. Before we start anything, baddie shot o'clock. It smells putrid. Oh my god. I'm gonna throw up. I just had Taco Bell before this. This is not gonna sit right. And the food was old as fuck. We're gonna get started on our base like we normally fucking do. If you're new, go watch all my videos, or you're big. Okay, I found the first story. Let's get started, shall we? A terrifying but true experience I experienced when I was 12. This was something I experienced, and not only was I experiencing this experience, I experienced it at the age of 12. That's probably when I experienced it. I moved to my dad's when I was 10 and didn't know anyone in the area, except for my family, my dad, and my friends. Single mom with 3 kids. Luckily there was a girl a couple years older than me, 12 at the time when I met her. And we got to know each other a little over a couple years. We weren't close, but ended up having the same friends. One night, my friend Rob was hanging out with her and her younger brother. They happened to be in a house alone because my friend's mom was at work, which is where this gets terrifying and sad. Her mother was helping this one lady through her work and got to know her fairly well. She found out her sister was in a mental institution and was let out recently. The night Rob was hanging out with my friend, they get a knock on the door. My friend thought it was just their mom. She knocks a certain way when coming in and answered it without thinking. Rob wasn't supposed to be there and he took off through the window to his house down the road. He never thought twice about it. It wasn't her mom. It was the sister of the lady her mom was helping, figured out through talking to her sister where her family lived and her mom's working schedule. She came in, and this is where I don't know all the details, and I'm glad I don't. My friend's younger brother got away to the neighbor's house to call the police. The lady brutally murdered my friend a week from Christmas, decapitating her, left her body in a bathtub, hid her head, and they had to look through the presents. And I don't know where they found it, but they did. I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. That was a short story, and halfway through I was like, this might just fucking be boring. What the fuck is that? And how big was this lady? Okay, your friend was like, never mind, your friend was like 10. You had to look through the presents on Christmas for her head? That is fucking, and she was like 10. That is so sad. Wait, why was a 10-year-old home alone? Okay, what am I saying? I literally was home alone all day when I was 7. I don't even know what to say about that. I can't even crack jokes or fucking, I don't know. That's scary and really sad. It's also perfect for me to be reading and telling you guys scary stories when I woke up from one of the worst nightmares of my life last night. And I didn't get a lot of sleep. So I decided to lay my fat ass down and take a nap. And also woke up to an even scarier dream. And normally dreams don't scare me. Scary dreams, because it's like a little horror movie in my head. Not these ones. I also can't imagine the guilt that he felt, like leaving her there thinking it was like her mom or whatever, and then it being someone else and her getting killed. That's so sad. I mean, not that he should feel guilt, like he probably would have died too. Survivor's guilt, or what is it? I don't know what the word is. feeling that shot already. I'm not even like scared anymore and like what the fuck, I'm actually just like really mad. My eye bags are fucking huge. Jesus. But like, do I look kind of masked right now? Or do I look like Uncanny Valley? I'm gonna go with the latter. Okay, I found the next story. But first, Batty shot a clock. It tastes so fucking bad. God. Okay, next story. This is posted by I Love Pink Nips. I mean, so do I. And I happen to have a pair of them myself. Okay, they're brown. But back when I was in the army, we ran into something pretty unexplainable during a regular navigation exercise. So navigation exercises are pretty standard throughout the world. Given a map and some coordinates, you have to find checkpoints using a compass. Of course, each squad was given a signal set to use in case of emergencies, or just to add to the weight they had to lug around. It's part of their kit anyways. There's a GPS embedded inside that's old school and gives coordinates only. Close to the end of the exercise, the squad had fallen hopelessly behind, but they were on their way to the latest checkpoint. So I was in charge of the last checkpoint with another fellow instructor. We knew they were around us in 1 kilometer radius. Couldn't spot them due to foliage. We waited and waited for about two and a half hours. You don't mess around up so freaking bad that you can't figure out a checkpoint that's 1 kilometer away. We radioed them and did not get a reply until an hour and a half later, the initial call. They were frantic. Seems like they were walking around in circles, seeing similar landmarks. It was apparently pitch dark at where they were, and this was around 6 p.m. where the sun was only starting to set. Me and the other trainer told them not to move, and we hiked to their position using electronic GPS, and at the coordinates given, we found no one. The forest was so eerily quiet. No insects, no birds, just dead silence. It was pretty unnerving. The radio set was silent. Not even static was coming out. We radioed them again, and they said they were at the same coordinates as us, but we saw no one. We decided to hike back to the checkpoint and wait. We gave them the coordinates to the checkpoint. About an hour later, they emerged. Took them 4 hours plus to find a checkpoint like 1 kilometer away. During final briefing, one of them told me they seemed to walk around in circles. They kept leaving marks on trees using a blade, but when they came back, what should have been there on the tree that they marked was gone. They also felt like they were being followed, but that should just be the forest and exhaustion playing tricks on them, right? Okay. I honestly would rather be murdered with a knife than be stuck somewhere and going in circles. That is my worst fucking fear. Every movie like that gives me anxiety. I hate time loops. I hate anything that has to do with anything like that. That is so terrifying to me. Now, that story wasn't in itself that scary. They didn't see anything scary from what he said. And there was nothing super, like, unnerving about that. But I'm guessing they were in a country they've never been in because they're in the military. And you're walking around a place you don't know. And if someone's telling you, I'm right here, and you're not right there, bitch, my eyes are fucking open. Where the fuck are you, ho? It would freak me the fuck out and I'd quit the military. Wait, can't you go to jail for that? Okay, I would still go to jail. Sorry. I don't play with that. I keep using this concealer and it's ghostly on me. I don't know why I do that. All these stories are so fucking short. It's like no one wants to fucking work anymore. It's time to get up and work and write out fucking stories that you went through. I don't want to hear a small little paragraph of what fucking happened. I want to know how dirty your fucking underwear was that day. I want to know if you didn't brush your teeth that day. I want to know if your fucking hoo-ha was washed that day. I guess I get what I fucking wish for. I found a long ass fucking one. So sit down, unbuckle your belt, because I know your fucking stomach is about to bust. But first, let me take a shot. Batty shot o'clock! I had to crack open a new bottle because I already went through the other one. This is from Via the Internet. I didn't think I had anything really creepy to post about until I had started reading through them and read something similar to my experience. It started around my sophomore year in high school. Boring. I began getting really creepy texts and phone calls, but never really thought much of them. Okay, Pretty Little Liars. Since in those days, prank calls was a common thing to do. The message, I literally, not to cut the story off like I normally fucking do, I was such a big PLL fan that I literally, me and my best friend at the time, would like hope and pray that someone was like stalking us and like sending us scary like texts and stuff, because I felt like it would make me feel wanted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would feel like a main character, and I would just have to like look over my shoulder, and like, it wasn't a healthy mindset, obviously. The messages and the calls would come in consistently for weeks, then would stop after a while. I honestly would forget that they ever happened until they start back up again. Around my junior year, the calls began getting creepier and creepier. They would call my house number along with my cell phone. This was around the time cell phones were starting to get popular, so while some of my older friends still had my number, it wasn't something I would give out to people randomly. When I started dating, they began calling my then boyfriend and would tell him awful things about me. And sometimes he would tell them awful things about me. And sometimes... Wait, what? I read that wrong. I thought the boyfriend was like, and you know what? Now that I think of it, I fucking hate that bitch too. I read that wrong, sorry. They then began calling my boyfriend and would tell him awful things about me, and sometimes even know where I was at the time and ask him to question where my whereabouts were. It caused a lot of issues between us, but again, they would stop after a while, and apart from wondering who it could be, I never really thought much of them again. Fast forward to college, I stopped talking to a lot of my friends from high school, even deleted old MySpace accounts and cleared friends lists from Facebook because I wanted to have a fresh start. She really said fuck everyone. Was still dating the same guy, but really stopped having contact with most people I knew from high school. Halfway through my freshman year, the calls and texts started again. This time, they were even more personal details about my life. Like always, right before I considered them serious enough to report, they would stop and I would slowly forget. How do you forget this is happening? How do you forget that you occasionally... Babe, this came on from sophomore year of high school and you're in sophomore year of college. Do you have some sort of brain injury or something? How do you forget that that's been happening for like... what, almost 10 years of your life? Sophomore year, I moved out of the dorms and into an apartment with 3 girls I had met the year before. One night, I started getting the unusual text again. But this time, they were threatening to Photoshop nude pictures of me to send out to people I knew. I tried ignoring them, but the text wouldn't stop. I would block one number and they would come in from a different number almost immediately. I got really creeped out and decided to change my number the next day. At this point, I was not sure who it could be, but I had become paranoid and stopped trusting anyone except my boyfriend. If it ends up being the fucking boyfriend, I swear. I isolated myself from my friends and began going into a depression. I sometimes was sure it was so-and-so from high school, but could never come up with the proof or anything. Fast forward a few months, and I'm at a concert with my boyfriend. He got drunk at night, and then we had gotten into a huge fight over it. I was home with my parents that weekend and got home around midnight. Around 2 a.m., the calls to my house phone start coming in. Yes, we still had a landline. One after the other, we were getting calls from men asking for my sexual services. Okay. How much are they willing to pay? We tried blocking calls, but like before, it was just different numbers one after the other. Finally, we just unplugged the phone. The next morning, I had to explain to my parents what had been going on for years, and together we made a report and changed the landline number. Turns out someone had put my phone number on Craigslist and listed me as a prostitute. They're not fucking around. By now, I finally began realizing that my boyfriend had been the one constant during most of these incidents, and that our drunk fight that night could have been a coincidence with my number being posted on Craigslist. It took a few tries for me to leave the relationship. He was very manipulative and had spent years isolating myself from my friends and only trusting him. I finally left him that summer and chose to forget all. So did he do it or not? Or you just like left him like thinking it was him? Because if so, I'm fucking right. Let's get that one thing straight. It took me a while to be healthy enough to start dating again, but when I did, I met a wonderful guy who is now my husband. I mentioned what had happened to me before, but thankfully was emotionally distant enough from it, and we just commented on how awful that had been and moved on. Last year, however, I began getting text messages again. I had a new phone, new number, new friend circle, blocked anyone associated with ex-boyfriend, trusted the people in my life not to hand out my number to anyone, so I was so scared when it started happening again. Thankfully, this time I had my wonderful husband with me. After it happened a few times where I would start to get text messages only when I was with my husband and the text insinuated that I had been cheating on him, we decided that we weren't going to take the chance that it was a coincidence. We hoped that we weren't being followed, but the timing and the content of the messages were obviously meant to cause a fight between me and my husband. We decided to make another police report, this time citing my ex-boyfriend as a suspect, and once again changed my number and limited the amount of people who had my number even further. Since then, I am happy to say I haven't gotten another phone call or message. The detective assigned to my case attempted to contact my ex-boyfriend, but he was never able to. In any case, I think that he realized that this time I was serious about pursuing legal action against him and he stopped. I was lucky that this was the case because technically I did not have proof that it had been him. Was it the boyfriend or not? Because I want to be able to tell you guys I told you so. That's pretty fucking crazy. It also sounds like I'm not like condoning people getting harassed or saying it'd be so fun to have a stalker. I mean, I literally said that, but I mean, not seriously. But I want to know if it was the boyfriend, because if it really was, then girl, he probably was talking shit about you to himself, like I said. I want to know also, like, what the reason was. Like, if she was happy in the relationship with him in the beginning, this is saying if it was her ex-boyfriend that did it. When she was with him, like, would he just, like, get mad when she was like, okay, I have to go home? He's like, all right, I'm going to tell everyone you're a whore. Like, okay, this is like a short little story, but I kind of want to read it anyways because it's paranormal and I'm in the mood for a paranormal story. But first, let's take a shot. Also, I had to put more translucent powder on because I was starting to look controversial. This is the one story my grandma used to tell about one of her aunts. They lived in Laos during the Secret War. Okay, I don't know what the Secret War is, and I don't know what Laos is. So, we're gonna learn something today. Her aunt started talking with one of the American soldiers, and he started learning basic Hmong. Okay, I don't know what language that is either, but after some time though, he stopped showing up. The basic consensus was that he was dead, but she kept waiting for him. When things got really bad and the bombs started dropping, they fled to the caves for shelter. One night, as everyone is sleeping, she hears a familiar voice. It's the soldier. He's mumbling in a very broken Hmong. I'm back for you, over and over again. Okay. I'm just gonna say this. I don't care if you're my loved one, if you're my best friend, if you're my mom. If you die, I would love to see you again, whether if I die or if you come back and you just want to say goodbye to me or watch over me. But if you're going to do that, don't come back and say, I'm back, I'm back, I'm back for you, I'm back for you. Okay, what about, hello, how are you? What happened to that? Instead, you go straight for the demonic voice. I don't get it. Her eyes are still closed, and until she feels something reach out and grab her shoulder and slowly moves down to her hand. When it reaches her hand, she said it wasn't human hand at all, but like a large animal paw. She really said, let me hold your paw. Rise up, monsters. She briefly opened her eyes to see a dark figure, clearly not human though, standing over her. She then heard her aunt get up. Something was said, but she couldn't make out what it was said. The figure then left, and the aunt followed. This was still in the middle of the night, mind you. The aunt was never seen again. The story is that the dead soldier came back to take her with him, or something else initiated him to order to take her. Okay. He said, I'm back for you, and then like pushed her out of the way and said, not you bitch, your aunt. That is crazy. But like what, you told like the cops like, oh, a paw touched me and then my aunt disappeared and she like just never came back? Like, damn. I really want to like perfect a black smoky eye, especially for like scary stories, because I don't know, I think it's perfect. And I've also just never done like a perfect black smoky eye, and I really want to like perfect it because I feel like I'm getting better, but who knows, maybe it'll be ugly as fuck. Okay, I'm gonna take another shot and then we're gonna go to the next story. I feel like this is going so fast and I'm drinking so fast. I'm already feeling drunk, but just drunk. But at the end of this video, I feel like I'm gonna be plastered. Tell me your scariest camping story. This is from Scott is my name, duh. I was camping in NE, Ohio by myself. I was on third and final night there, woke up to piss, walked about 10 feet from my hammock and noticed a headlamp about 80 to 100 feet from me. I watched it for about 10 minutes. I watched him stand up, sit down, and I got my boots on, grabbed my hatchet, and started to walk to the right of my campsite. I was going to find out what he was up to. I got about 50 yards from my site and started walking towards him when I noticed another headlamp, about 40 feet from me, and walking around. I hit the ground and threw some leaves on me. He walked about 10 feet from where I was laying, then he stopped, lit a cigarette, and finished his beer. He threw his can on the ground. After he got far enough that he couldn't hear me, I got up and started walking towards the first guy. This guy is powerful as fuck. That could never be me. I would have actually just slept in a hole all night long. Sorry. Because I don't know if he's like in the middle of nowhere or if he's like at like a campsite that's like popular. But if you're in the middle of nowhere camping, the only time there's going to be people around you is if they were fucking following your fat ass. I'm going to shit my pants so bad. I have to get to the story before I shit. I got close enough to him that I could hear his phone receiving messages. I moved up closer to him quietly to where I can see his face lit up by his cell phone. That's when he stood up and started walking towards my hammock. I laid there on the ground for a minute and made my way towards my site. I stopped when I started hearing my tarp that I had above my hammock being trashed. Then I could see flashlights and then my big flashlight turn on and off. I heard my mess kit being thrown and them talking about how he was just here. Okay, if they wanted to rob him, they literally could. So I'm just really fucking curious. I'm gonna shit my pants. I'm sorry. Then I can see flashlights, and then my big flashlight turn on and off. I heard my mess kit being thrown, and them talking about how he was just here. I laid on the ground and watched my flashlight walk away until it was a small dim light. When the sun came up and I returned, my whole site was destroyed. My hammock and tarp was shredded by what looks like a machete. My mess kit was stomped on. They took my backpack, rain gear, and flashlight. I went to the spot where I'd seen the first guy and found chew pouches, 8 empty beer cans, and an empty lighter. Hicks. I found to where I'd seen the other guy and found an empty bag of powder which turned up to be meth. Sounds about right. I bet you they're missing lots of teeth. A mess of cigarette butts and a pile of shit with no paper to be found. He's like, by the way, these guys don't wipe their ass. Am I surprised about the type of people that were going to rob him or do worse? No. But were they watching him the entire time? Like, there's no update that I can see. If they were smoking cigarette butts, 8 beer cans, doing meth, I mean, how long were they watching him for? Days? He was there for 3 days and that was his last day. That is really fucking scary. My scariest fear is not animals, it's not the weather, it's not ghosts. It's humans. Humans are scary. And as a wise woman once said, the bear. I choose the bear. Calling back to... Where's my vape? Mama needs her vape. I'm gonna finish the other eye, take another shot, and then we'll be back. So drunk. Oh my god. The makeup's looking so blended today. I'm a guru. I'm a fucking guru. G-U-R-U. Guru. Fuck of the Mountain posted this. This isn't his story. This is a story he read that was documented. A pregnant woman and her children are found murdered. Okay. That started off really fucking strong. The suspect is a creepy high school student who lived in the neighborhood. Sure enough, they track him down and it goes to trial. Very gruesome details. Then they come to find out it was not his first offense. You're in high school and this isn't your first... He had disappeared before he was 15. And he was discovered, according to the story, living and hiding in the walls of a girl whose family he had been stalking. There were some freaky details, including his masturbation preferences. Okay, I don't know if we need to hear about that on YouTube, but here are some supposed details and some resources. The movie finished and the girl went off to change for bed. At the same time, the dad came home. The youngest, 8 or so, was in her bedroom. She opened her closet and found Danny LaPlante standing there with a hatchet. He was dressed in her dead mom's clothes with makeup smear on his face. He told her to be quiet and tied her up. He eventually tied up the whole family in the bedroom. He told them he was going to kill them. He'd be right back, so start praying. The guess is he went to ransack valuables. Thankfully, the youngest was able to wiggle free. She jumped out of the neighbor's house, who called the cops before coming back over with a gun to free the family. He freed the dad and the daughters, but didn't see the 15-year-old LaPlante. Cops came and couldn't find him. The family stays with relatives for 2 weeks to get away from the house. In that time, nobody's found him. The family has to come home. They pull into their driveway, see the motherfucker standing in the window. The father starts yelling. Neighbors come over. They surround the house. Cops come and search the house. They find Danny, but find a disturbing scene. Pennies are glued to the ceiling. Okay. My brother used to glue pennies to the wall. Had a whole collection. So am I in danger? Or all of their clothes, furniture, and fucking everything had been jacked off on. Okay, what the fuck is going on? But no Danny. They search the house, nothing. Nothing until a cop in the basement hears a noise coming from behind the washing machine. Cops rush in and pull the washing machine away from the wall and find a hole. And that hole is Danny. Okay, so this obviously isn't the family he killed because they got away. That is fucking insane. You're 15 years old and you're a serial killer already, and you do unimaginable things, creepy shit. Where is his family? I feel like I need to look into this afterwards, and let me know in the comments if you look up this case, because obviously it's documented. That's what they're saying. I believe everything on the internet, so thank you guys for getting through to the end of the video. Please fucking subscribe. Do you know how many of you guys are fucking watching my videos and not subscribed? Don't piss me off right now. Please don't. But I love you guys, and comment what kind of video you want to see next. What do you want me to see me read? And yeah, I love you guys so much.